The Crusaders, Street Life. It's BBC Radio Leicester. Ben Jackson with you through until midday today. We'll do a song to make you smile in about 10 minutes' time. We'll also be talking about, we're talking Brexit through the medium of T-shirts, which apparently people are doing now, slogan tees, all that stuff. We'll do it for you in about half an hour. Now, we are 2 weeks into the new year now, which seems like they've just flown by. So how are those New Year's resolutions bearing up? Weight loss, fitness maybe on the agenda? What can we be doing to just get through those extra pounds that keep you going? Join the gym, tick. Fridge full of salad, oh, you're not kidding, tick. Not happy doing either of these, tick. Eve Wiley runs a local gym as an expert on nutrition and fitness and just giving people that gentle nudge in the right direction. Morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm all right. That's why I don't do New Year's resolutions, because I always think a fortnight in, you just set yourself up to fail.
I hear you. Setting like that huge, big, audacious goal, and then perhaps it's not as manageable as you thought.
Well, you do that thing, don't you, on New Year's Day, where you've finally eaten the last quality street, and you'll be sick if you see anything chocolatey again. You think, in a fortnight's time, I'm going to be ripped. I'm going to have lost a stone. Yeah. I'm going to be an Adonis. And, of course, it doesn't work.
Isn't it a shame, though? I noticed this for myself, not the goal setting, but over Christmas, I think that it's winter. There should be natural seasons. It's kind of a time for reflection and slowing down a bit. I think we're less affected by seasons because, we're modern society. We just kind of go all the time and expect to go all the time. But certainly I think we were talking before Christmas about how, our daily lives are interrupted. We're fed, we're overfed, we drink too much, we spend too much, and we're kind of less in control of our daily lives. So I think it's a shame because January, we get back in control. We don't perhaps feel great after all the excess, and it's probably a wonderful time to actually set some goals, isn't it? Like, it makes sense. So it's just, I think, more than having a huge resolution that can be quite intimidating and a little bit cumbersome, actually just breaking that down into smaller goals and trying to slow down and, rather than focus on the large goal, focus on what we're doing day to day.
That seems, I'd never thought of it that way before, but it's like if you hang that big albatross around your neck, it just drags you down, doesn't it? But if you say, well, okay, look, I want to twice a week, I want to eat a really healthy meal. Whatever you do, that's achievable.
Absolutely.
Over the long term.
Indeed. I think that someone told me this. There's a different coach, actually. He said it's really quite irrelevant what you do in between Christmas and New Year, and that's the thing that we worry about the most. It's actually more relevant what we do from January to next Christmas and Christmas that will come 2019, and that's the time to set these habits and these goals. But I think the more we reach out, the more help we get, the more we understand about habits, and the more we work on it, we build better habits, we have more knowledge, we gain the tools we need to be successful long term. So it is very much starting in small ways and building up those small habits that amount to the bigger changes.
Give me an idea. I mean, you probably don't need to because this is the way you live your life. But was there something you did on January the 1st that was different?
No, I think no, I wouldn't say so. I mean, you said you didn't set any resolutions. I know that it was more that for me, I think that not being in control of my daily life over Christmas, I was very much looking forward to getting back in control. And, so for me...
Do you let yourself relax?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I'm not like a Puritan. I'm quite a hedonistic person. I'm a normal person. Like, I'm not kind of advertising this, unobtainable, idealistic kind of black and white kind of idea of health. And I think all my clients are normal people, and it is about our own journeys, going at our own paces. And I think, Ben, it's so important. I think that we need to be realistic about who we are, where we are now, and then build upon that. And, come away from looking at this big far off goal and having these role models that are really unrealistic. I really think we need to come back and be realistic about who we are and where we are now. And
because you did, I mean, the way my mindset works is I set about doing something and then it doesn't happen. You think, well,
why do you think that is?
Stuff it. I'm not going to do
down?
it. I think because I set end goals rather than interim goals.
Absolutely.
So I think it's almost like having the idea would be to do that. But actually, in order to do that, I need to do this thing first. So I'm
absolutely,
crack on with that.
So, I mean, you asked me if I've ever fall down or get out of habit. So, absolutely. I mean, when I was just training people, before I opened a business and had a facility, I trained people. I was in the gym all the time. And when you're a trainer, it's easy to train 5 times a week and just focus on nutrition because it's your job. When I opened a business, I understood how busy life is and things got in the way. So I wasn't necessarily in the gym floor and I wasn't with clients all the time. I'd be in the office and I went to the gym less and I ate more food and I'd go to the pub more. And those habits did start coming back in. When I set myself a goal to start getting fitter again, my goals would be so achievable. And I think that's the first thing. Make sure your goals are achievable. An achievable goal is something that's so simple you can't fail. So for me, my goal would be I'm going to go to the gym twice this week. I'm going to be there for 30 minutes. And that's all I'm going to pressure myself to do. And what I found was it was so simple, I could actually do it. And on week 2, the second week in a row where I went twice a week for 30 minutes, I didn't even pressure myself for what I was going to do or how hard I was going to work out. I just got there. And as soon as I got there, I could tick off my goal. That was my achievement. And that made me feel good. By week 3, I found, well, this is actually getting easier. I'm going to go 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And then that 30 minutes became 40 minutes. And then those 3 times a week for 40 minutes became, I'm actually getting fitter. I'm going to work harder now that I'm here. And you build it up like this. And I'm not really sure what it is, why we want to kind of get there. I suppose it's gratification. We want the reward immediately on day one. So we act like we go from sitting on the couch to being athletes the next
because
day.
we are kind of goal orientated, aren't we? And it's how some of those apps work, isn't it? What is it? Fit 5K thing, with Sofa to 5K, or Couch to 5K, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because it's broken down into achievable small chunks, but large enough small chunks that they give you a little nudge, don't they?
Definitely.
Because you've got to be competitive with somebody. You might as well be competitive with yourself.
Absolutely. And I think technology is a great thing to use nowadays. It gamifies the whole process. So it does break it down for us, turns it into a bit of a game. It breaks it down into achievable chunks. We can see your progress. We can actually see result, whether it's a performance goal, whether you're doing more in the gym, whether your waist is shrinking. You can actually monitor and quantify these things. And you're just breaking it down into smaller tasks. And you're getting that little reward as well of those small achievements all the time. Whereas I think sometimes if you're not a nutritional expert and you're not an expert in the gym, but you have an app that's kind of setting out your goals and taking care of that for you, it's giving you a structure and it's achievable, attainable goals within that structure, just step by step, and it'll do a lot of the work for you.
I think it's when you were last in, I thought you just speak so much sense because you're talking about real people. That's the point. You write magazines and you see the front page of newspapers and all that kind of stuff, and it's all this time of the year, it's all lose a stone in a week, keep it off forever, and all this kind of stuff. And with photographs of amazingly beautiful people, and you think, well,
so unrealistic.
Yes, but it's not. It just isn't real. It just isn't realistic. It isn't, and it's not realistic to be virtuous all the time.
And do you think that's even part of the process? I think for me, when people come to me for help, for coaching to the gym, I think you have to be at that point where you're willing to forgo the idea, or sort of like the kind of fib that you're going to change overnight. You're going to be a different person. You have to come to a point where you're willing to accept realistic goals and go through that journey.
Because it seems to me that part of the way it's sort of pushed is that you are a bad person now, but if you follow these rules and eat cabbage for the rest of your life, you will be a better, more virtuous, more beautiful person. That's not the case.
So it's like an emotional kind of thing, isn't it?
But that's a tough thing to wear, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Listen, give us a task for this weekend. One thing that we could break it down into. One thing that would make us all feel a little bit better.
So I think start with your biggest priority. Start with the biggest goal that you want to achieve. Don't do 10 things at one time. It becomes too complex, too overwhelming, and you're at risk of not being able to achieve anything if you take it all at once. So pick your most important goal that you think will have the biggest impact now. Set goals that are achievable. And remember, a big idea is great, and I'm fully behind you on that, but make sure you're breaking it down into smaller goals. What you're going to do on a daily basis, what you need to do this week. Remember, you're going to make mistakes. You're only human, so when you make your first mistake, it's okay. My advice to you is just keep going. It's okay. Just keep on plodding on, keep moving forward, and make sure you've got some support, whether that's for someone like a professional, for myself, or whether you're getting friends involved, family involved, whether you're making your goals public. Make sure you have that accountability, and it's a lot easier to work out and do this when you've got people supporting you and pushing you on.
Eve, it's great to see you. I know you have social media and stuff. How do people follow you on social media?
Mainly Facebook. Okay. So currently we are Mean Training. We're based in the city centre. We are going through a rebrand as well. I still don't have that for you, Ben. I'll come on and tell you next time. He's laughing at me.
That's the thing you want to break down, because you were talking about that 3 months ago.
Not quite. It's about 3.5 weeks. We did have some problems But yeah, we had to switch designers and things like that. I think we're about 80% of the way there now.
It's lovely to see you again. It really is.
You too, man.
Really
Always.
lovely. You talk so much sense.
Thank
You always
you.
make me feel really good. It's great.
Good.
Eve, thanks. Have a great weekend.
Welcome.
And in fact, later on, we've got a fabulous Food Friday recipe as well, which is really healthy without being just a plate of
Cabbage, I think you said.
cabbage.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
delicious and gorgeous. It's a lovely stir fry, and it's really good for you. And it's warming and lovely, and it's zingy and healthy, and all that kind of stuff. We'll do that later on. Eve, thanks ever so much for coming in. Have a great weekend.
Welcome.
Thank you. 23 minutes past 9. You listen to BBC Radio Leicester.